Hey, Barry. Hey, Bobby.
Yeah.
Okay, I've started the video.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Velvet. Welcome, everybody, to the November 4th, 2020 Caroline Town Board Agenda meeting on Zoom. And the meeting is being recorded and the recording will be put on the website, as we've been doing for a while now. So welcome, everybody. And if anybody does wish to address the board who's from the public, they may do so now by raising their blue Zoom hand. So I'm assuming, I think Barry's okay with that. So with that, I'll go ahead and start the meeting. And I guess, so just as a matter of process, I'll ask if there are any additions or deletions that people have to the agenda. And I guess I'll just say, I'd like to call an executive session to discuss something that with potential legal implications. So I'll have a brief executive session at the end of the meeting.
Potential what implications?
Legal.
What? Yeah.
Legal. Got
Legal.
it. Okay.
Yeah. Great. Okay. So I'll open the budget discussion. So this is our fourth budget meeting, and I tried to line up the changes that we accumulated in our three previous budget meetings. I sent that earlier, and I realized from Tim's feedback that, yeah, I maybe been doing this too long. So just using the account numbers was a little arcane, and so I'll try to put the actual accounts on there next time. So, but we don't have, I think most of the adjustments were, I think fairly minor, and we recognized them. So I'll just speak through them, talk through them really quickly. We adjusted in the court line, we adjusted the equipment line and the contractual line and the jury trial expense line as indicated. So going from actually we didn't adjust yes, okay. So for the equipment line, we added 6,500. For the contractual, we went from 6,000 to 7,400. And for the jury trial expenses, we went from 0 to 1,000. So, and that was as requested by the justices.
What is the 6,500 for? Because we're taking it from 0 to, what was the?
Yeah, so that was last year. They asked to budget that amount for doing the video security or whatever. So they put that in there again this year. It didn't happen this year. So maybe we can have a brief discussion about that later.
I just wanted clarification, like what equipment they were thinking.
Sure.
Okay.
I think that's the one thing, but maybe since we're on that now, I'll just go ahead.
Is there also money for the bailiff, Mark?
I wonder if that would come out of the
I thought last year we gave them money for a bailiff as well.
contractual line. I mean, I used last year's numbers, so these are the numbers from last year. And the bailiff could easily come out of that would be a contractual expense.
Yeah, okay. That probably is where it's from then. Okay.
The thing I'll just mention it briefly now, and we could have a follow-up because it's sort of it's a building and grounds question. It's an IT question, but I would like to move ahead with developing a plan for installing security cameras at the town hall and at the town offices. and I would just like to move ahead on that because I think we kind of need that. We've recognized that we need that. We had a recent, minor incident with the library that sort of brought this home for me. So anyway,
What happened?
Oh, just somebody came in who was kind of out of it, and the librarian was there by herself, and I just happened to stop by to turn off my office light, so it worked out well, and everything. So I just, it would have been, yeah, it just made me think, it'd be nice to have some added level of security. So that was it. Nothing untoward or bad happened. But so yeah, we can follow up on this later. I did mention it to Gary when he was here, Gary Burns from the Computing Center, about seeing what he could find out as far as what we could do through ComCore, because they do offer this kind of technology. So might be,
Yeah.
and I'd spoken to Irene a little bit about it, and she had recommended that. So
yeah, it should integrate with the intercom system that already exists in the phones, so that there would be an intercom to the door, that, and then at least, some years back when we looked into this, the recommendation from, I don't remember if it was through Ace Security or through Pleasant Valley, but Pleasant Valley Electric, but actually, or was it Eastern Security? Because we were working with them on a bunch of stuff. Anyhow, was to put mag locks on both doors, both at the town hall door and also at the court door. Which is basically, we've all experienced those. You ring the buzzer, they say who's there, you tell them who you are, and then they go bzzz, and you're buzzed in. That's a mag lock, magnetic electronic system that.
sure. So yeah, so maybe maybe going forward, I don't know if you want to help with that, Irene, and we want to kind of talk with the justices. I know they got a proposal from Ace Security last year, so we have a little bit of a markup or a sketch plan of what they want, and we could run it by them. And so anyway, just thought I'd mention that since it came up. I think it'd be, I'd like your thoughts about whether you think it is a good thing to move forward on, and the process, if you have other thoughts about that.
I do think it's a good thing to move forward on.
Yeah.
Great.
And we can, again, years ago when we looked into this, we talked with NIMER to get their recommendations. So I'm sure there's probably somebody from Office of Court Administration who deals with courtroom security and courthouse security that can advise us as well.
I think the justices went up to Ulysses and looked at their court when they were prospecting it last year too. So great. Okay. So yeah, I think we'll push ahead with that and see what we can develop.
Okay. And so is that on my plate? Are you asking me to do that?
However you want to do it. If I was thinking of, I guess I was thinking, yeah, it could be, if you want to take the lead, or when we develop a plan, I was thinking of, like you would be one of the people, along with maybe Susan and working with Gary to, what's your thought about your bandwidth? And
my bandwidth is there. I'm not sure, given recent interactions, whether I'm the best choice for that interaction with them. I also, and this has been, I'll own this, that this has been my vision for for the what I've called for many years an office manager position. That to me, this is the kind of stuff that I would want to see an office manager doing. So that they're involved,
Yeah, well-
they're on site, they're talking to the installers, they're compiling the estimates. It feels like an operational a doing thing as opposed to a policy thing.
Yeah,
And
no,
so
I think
to
that's a
me-
good point. And Velvet
So-
can help with this, I think.
Yeah, I'm happy to bounce ideas off it, and if you
Perfect.
want to assign it differently, but my thinking is that but Mark, Velvet is your hire, and it's up to you to decide how you want to see that position used. So so
I think that's a great idea, and I was intending to discuss it with Velvet and
okay.
see if she could help with that. So I think it's a great idea.
I'm definitely in.
Great.
Okay,
Thanks,
and Velvet, you got John and I'll have your back for whatever questions, challenges, whatever arise.
Okay.
We're not trying to
What are you
bail on
gonna
you.
do?
I'm just trying to set up a new rhythm for how we do stuff.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, that's more than fine with me.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay, good. Sounds good. Moving on the little budget lines, A1620.1 is an adjustment to the cleaning line based on an estimated 4 hours a week. So that's boosted from 2,000 to 3,257.
So,
And then
so
I
Mark,
added $1,000 to Richard's maintenance person line.
Mark, can I ask, are you going to be, if we're going to be going through budget stuff right now, can you do a screen share so we can all be looking at what you're looking at?
Oh, okay. Sure. I was looking at a piece of paper on my desk, but I'll see what I can do here.
Oh, so you're not looking at the Excel spreadsheet?
Isn't this
Yes,
the
I am.
thing you mailed oh, it's not the thing you mailed out earlier today?
Yeah, it is, but I'm gonna
Oh,
share it.
Okay.
I just have to grab it
Let
here.
me- I've been in back-to-backs for most of today.
Yeah,
so
me too.
I didn't see that you mailed stuff.
Yeah, I should have pulled up that right away. Let's see.
So I see you mailed. I see something that's response to Don's questions. Is that what we're?
No, you don't want that. That's a lot more than you need right now.
Okay, I see October accounting report.
I'm gonna pull it up here in a minute.
Okay.
Let's see, October. No, that's different. That's a trial balance. Yeah, you got lots of things you didn't know about today, didn't you?
Hmm?
I'm just commenting.
No.
It
yeah,
came,
I'm
it
seeing-
came in at 10:10 a.m.
Oh. Okay. Oh, I see it. Oh, my internet's definitely faster. I got it at 10:09.
Show off.
Sorry for the delay, but I'm almost there. And it would be nice to just have them in front of everybody, including attendees. Okay, here we go. We'll see if I can do this. Ta-da!
Ta-da.
You got it?
Yep.
Very fancy. So I just went through these two lines, the cleaning line and the maintenance person line adjustments. A5132 is a highway equipment line that's funded through the A fund, and I just budgeted that back. I had budgeted it based on expenditures to date, but I decided to just put it where it was last year. So I added 1,500 to that and put it back where it was last year. A6989.418 is the food pantry, increase to 3,000. DA 5130.2 is the significant change from 130 to 180, 180,000 for equipment. The Speedsville fire contract is based on, I got the budget from them. So their budget was flat. I had budgeted it at a 2% increase, and we had increased it a little more than that last year from their budget. So that put it at 54,200. And then I had the wrong number in there for the Speedsville workers' comp contract. So I refilled those cells, and so the right number is 7747. I'm proposing 194,000 of fund balance applied to reducing the tax levy. And I'll show you, I'll share the budget sheet in a minute. That's a 1.75% increase in the levy. It's 0.13% below the tax cap. And the approximate, I think I've changed it a little bit today, but these are approximately, oh, actually I wrote it down here. Yeah, so it's, now I'm coming up with 179,000 for A fund balance and 210,000 for DA fund balance based on my fund balance machinations. So I think what I'll do now, so those are the changes. Yeah, and I'll try to see if I can share another document without messing everything up. I think I can. Okay, I'll stop share there. Share again. Okay, so here's my budget spreadsheet with the changes. And
the formatting.
Yeah, do you think Irene's going to say anything?
I don't think so.
I'll go ahead even though she hasn't said anything. So, okay. So here's my orange fund balance table. And actually, Don emailed us today and was wondering about these fund balance things that I did up here. Well, this was kind of a table that I forgot about, except for from a previous year. And so, he pointed out that these numbers, it said 1 July fund balance, but it should be the first of year fund balance. So so those I put in. But anyway, this isn't the table that this orange table is the one I've been working with. And so I want to try to clarify. I spoke with Bob today and some of it was kind of confusing, I realized. But one thing I did is, these are the different fund balance accounts we have, which includes reserve funds, and then A fund and DA funds surplus, that's what we really think of as our expendable fund balance. And the one change is here in the DA equipment reserve. So that reserve fund has 238,770 because there was $178,000 transfer at the beginning of the year from last year. So that's there. And so then this is this year, where my arrow is, this is this year's budgeted amounts for the reserve accounts. And then these are our numbers for next year. The 2020 expended. So this one for the town hall improvements, that 20,027 is what we spent on the town hall grounds. And then this one, I'll open it up, I think. So this contains the 194,000 of fund balance applied to offset the levy. And then here's 150,000 that I'm transferring from A fund to DA fund balance. And then the 178,000 is that was at the beginning of the year to cover the equipment reserve amount transferred from last year. So that ends us up in the, by these calculations, in the A fund balance at about 179,000. And we could move them around, but that puts us right just barely over the 20% budgeted amount. So that's kind of why I left it like that. And then down here, so the DA fund balance, there's the 150,000 that comes from the A fund. And so you can see we end up in a better position at the beginning of 2021 than we are now. And it's still below where we want to be, but it's not breathtakingly low. So that's that.
Wait. Can we go back and discuss a little bit?
Questions?
Yeah. So here's my question. So we're starting off 2021 with 179,000 in the A fund balance. What did we start off 2020 with in the fund balance?
Well, it would have been something like,
So somewhere around 500,000.
yeah.
Here's where I get worried. Is we put almost 200,000 to offset the levy this year.
Mhm.
If all we have in our fund balance is 180,000, and we need to have 20% to tide us over in next year's budget, what do we have to be able to offset the levy next year? I just worry that this 20% thing is gonna catch up with us in ways that create challenges. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, I know that every year, you know, we put together our overall budget and there's money that we didn't spend at the end of the year. So I know that some of that will come back into the A fund, you know, at the end of the year. But it doesn't strike me that we're going to have necessarily, you know, 200,000 left over to then offset the levy. And so I, you know, and
Maybe you're saying shift more to A fund balance?
No, I'm worried that overall this kind of trajectory, what's the realistic amount that we have left over each year, and how much can we really be affording to offset levies?
Well,
You know, I mean, I appreciate the intent. I especially appreciate the intent this year, but I worry. I know that, you know, we should have 15 to 20%. That is what the controller recommends, so that for the first, you know, couple of months into the new year before the tax receipts come in, that we have money to pay our bills and such. So that's sort of a baseline level that we need to keep in fund balance. But, you know, I think that, I don't know. I don't know how we manage whatever beyond that. You know, offsetting the levy by 200,000 is, you know, it's I get it, especially this year. I get it, but you know, we can't keep doing something like that, and that's what concerns me. If we're going to keep our fund balances trimmed to the bone. And if we don't keep our fund balances trimmed to the bone, then we need to either look at overriding the tax cap or spending less somewhere's in the budget to leave more money left over. So I you know, that's when I look at this, that's what I worry about as a trajectory going forward, is that you know, that we're
I I understand your concern. And I think that, you know, a large, you know, this is being driven right now by, so, you know, we're spending $500,000 on highway equipment this year. So that's, you know, and that is not a long-term, that's not going to happen every year, but we recognize that there are some highway equipment needs. So, you know, we've spent funds recently or are spending funds, and we've budgeted high for next year at 180. But I don't see that. I think your point speaks to why we have to be, you know, we have to be creative and resourceful in developing a long-term strategy that you know, creates a sustainable a sustainable process for keeping our highway equipment going.
Well,
So
Yeah, it's not only about the highway equipment, though. It's just overall
it's
managing,
$500,000.
managing our fund balance. You know, if our, you know, it's been a very nice practice to be able to offset a tax levy somewhat. But, you know, I don't know how sustainable that idea is going forward unless, you know, we trim spending somewhere.
Irene, am I understanding you that you're launching a discussion for next year? Or are you proposing cutting the fund balance use for levy offset this year? I just want to clarify that.
I'm trying to think ahead, and I'm not proposing that we change the levy offset for this year, but I wonder, are there places to, I don't know, to trim our budget so that we don't have to offset so much of the levy to stay under the tax cap?
So,
you know, or that we somehow figure out how to leave more in the fund balance than just the 15 to 20%. You know, that's there as the baseline to be able to pay bills for the first couple of months. And so we can, you know, consider that as a constant, that we need, you know, 175, 200,000 year after year to just keep in the fund balance. And I think that, you know, if we want to have additional money to offset the levy, that's got to come from somewhere. And I don't see where, you know, come next year, other than whatever expenditures that we've identified for this year that don't get spent. So, you know, maybe we get more revenues than we anticipated, or maybe, you know, the security system for the court doesn't cost as much as we think it will. So there will be some money left over, but you know, it just concerns me going forward.
About developing our tax base a little bit.
well, we can't do that right now. I mean, that's
We've
Right.
got a committee working on it.
Right. I mean, that's a good point, Cal. There's, you know, potentially a solar farm that could go in.
I mean, you know, I'm thinking long term, it's not just, you know, the next year's budget, but,
Right.
you know, that's part of the thing is, yes, we need, you know, site plan review and economic development. You know, and we've got to be careful about, you know, what we can do to not be spending $100,000 to fix up a road to go up to a piece of property that's valued at $40,000. you know, I mean, these are long-term things, but just longer-term things, but you know, they will pay huge dividends in the end, I feel. I'm just making sure we don't get, you know, I mean, the good work that Tim's committee is trying to do is the sort of thing we need long-term. You know,
Yeah. I don't know that there's necessarily changes we need to make this year, but I am concerned that we're going to hit a wall at some point where we're, going to not be able to offset the levy.
And that's why we,
yeah,
that's
we are
why
gonna
we
get a
can,
wall.
that's when we would override the tax cap.
Well, I understand.
But I just, so, I mean, so this year, and just, so if you look at, so this number here on my screen, so the highway budget is about 69–70% of the budget this year. So that's, and I think that's largely because we've trimmed a lot from the A fund. The 3 previous years, it ranged from 59% to 62%. So it's, I guess that, I think, we need to, I think that, we'll see. We'll have to.
Yeah, look, as long as everybody sees what's happening, I'm not,
Sure.
just to raise the awareness that we can't keep,
I understand. I totally
offsetting.
get that.
Yeah.
And, we've talked about it before, but I think it is, yes, absolutely. So the A fund balance went from 538 and it'll end up next year at, 180 or something. But, so I just think it's because of our immediate needs, largely. And so that should, at some point, fairly soon, if we can develop a good plan, that should attenuate or lessen, and we can stream it out a little bit. That's my hope, at least. And so Bob and I talked about looking at options for other options, and we spoke about it at the last meeting as well. So
Yeah. Did you meet with Laura, by the way?
no,
Laura-
Laura fell ill over the weekend and
Oh,
wasn't
no.
able to meet, but she's better now. But Bob and I are gonna meet with her. Then a couple of years ago, I talked to a supervisor in Big Flats, and I'd kind of like to circle back to him. And Bob called we got a solicitation from a vendor who does this kind of thing. So Bob's reaching out to him to see what he can learn. So yeah. I do wonder, and that's why I made my initial comment, if we want to skew more of the final fund balance toward the A fund, because we can always feed the DA fund, but we can't do the reverse.
That would be smart.
So maybe I'll, that would just be, maybe do it by $50,000, make it $100,000 transfer from A to DA, and then that would increase this to what, 230 or so. That seemed like a reasonable idea. It's still available for all purposes.
I think that's fine. We can always, transfer to the DA line from the A fund balance.
Exactly.
It was more of a
I know your comment was different.
Yeah, it was more of a general concern.
Absolutely. I understand. Yeah. Great. So here's the table. Here are the numbers I quoted you earlier. So getting us 0.13% below the tax cap. And I talked to Velvet about it. She felt like that was a good place to end up. So great. So
Oh, it's awesome. So excited about that.
are there
Oh, what?
any other comments or questions or
Pleasure.
other items, line items that I didn't talk about that people want to bring up?
So, Mark, can you hear me?
Yeah, is that Bob?
Yes.
Yeah, can you hear me all right?
I can. Yep.
All right, so just to clarify, if you go back to where you just were, which showed the
Yeah.
revenue funds.
This one?
Yep, about right there, the orange,
Sure.
right there. So correct me if I'm wrong, but you said the number changed drastically because of the highway needs. So we had talked earlier, but I guess I'm looking for some clarification,
Mm-hmm.
you know, as to that, like I brought up this morning, and so we had rollover money from last year that
Mm-hmm.
was,
That's in here, Bob, in the 238,770.
so when you were referring to the A fund balance being drastically taken down to because of highway needs,
Mhm.
where's that part?
Well, it's because it ultimately,
238.
so if you look at the A fund balance here, there's the 178 that supported that transfer, because without that transfer, there weren't enough funds remaining in the DA account to support that. So I mean, it's you know, we like you said, you know, when we fund the DA 5130.2, that designates that money for highway needs, but it's all town money, and it all you know, ultimately it comes out of town funds. So
Right, but if we, so we go back to where we budgeted in 19 for
yeah.
268,000.
Mm-hmm.
We spent 83,000. Take that remainder,
Mm-hmm.
add it to 300,000, comes up shy of just shy of the 500, not
Right.
$178,000 shy of the 5,000.
Right.
So really what I'm saying is, you know, maybe the original 500 number really isn't 500 because there was supposed to be 178 put into highway reserve previously, which wasn't, because what you're saying is you had to transfer 178 from A fund to DA to cover equipment costs.
Right.
But what I'm saying is the money should have already been in DA.
Right, but at the it should have been in DA, but at the end of the year, when the transfer would happen, moving that out of DA 5130.2 and into DA 233 would put the DA fund balance underwater. So that's why we had to feed it with a fund balance. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, so, you know, we're in a situation right now where we have, in a short amount of time, had to make, you know, we're having to make large expenditures for highway equipment, or we have. And so,
Right.
you know, that affects, you know, it has a.
Right, but what I'm saying is the highway equipment is budgeted on a DA line.
Right.
So if you take from 19s and then from 20s,
Right.
it comes up just shy of the 500,000.
No, I get all that, Bob, but the highway budgeted amount is within the total highway fund, the highway expenditures. And so at that point, at the end of the year, if you don't have enough funds in the overall DA fund to cover removal of that amount, to put it in a reserve fund, then you've got to do something. I mean, that's how we budget the town hall reserve account and the town garage reserve account. We get down to the end of the year and we say, how do things look? Can we afford to do this or whatever? So. The money is earmarked for highway expenditures. So by putting it in there.
All right.
All right, great. I can tell you didn't really love that explanation, but anyway.
I guess that'd be a safe thing to say. Yeah, I'm trying to kind of wrap my head around it, and we've talked before about, this is where the problem has come, where we've budgeted to buy a piece of equipment 2 years ago and we haven't bought it. We're just currently buying it. So some money sits aside that's, it looks like some fund balance money, but in all honesty, it's really not. It's
You mean reserve, you mean highway reserve.
Reserve funds.
Money, right?
Right.
Yeah. No, and I did go back and look, and I saw like in 19, there were transfers to other highway account lines from the equipment line. So I think being more rigorous about, siloing that money for highway equipment will be a good thing.
All right.
Good. Okay. Thank you, Bob.
But these are all numbers that are balance sheet numbers, right? It's not like there is an account at the trust company that says highway equipment reserve and it's got, X amount of money in it. It's just, these are just balance sheet numbers that you're keeping and, or that, Velvet's keeping that just account for where things should be. And there's.
Hey, Velvet, are you there? I think the reserve accounts are.
It's all in the savings.
Okay, it's all there.
So it is all, at the trust company, it's all in one account.
Yeah.
But you're correct, when we do it in the accounting program, that's where we assign it to the accounts.
And could A plus B plus C be reflected in the balance of an account at the trust company?
Yeah, that's what I do to do the reconciliations.
Great.
Great. So I would like to offer like a consent agenda resolution to adopt the changes that I just went through, if people are ready to do that. Are you ready for a vote on those changes, council members?
I am.
Sure.
Yeah,
Okay, great.
I'll
So if
second
there's-
it so you have one.
Okay, thank you, John. So if there's no further discussion, I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great, okay, thank you. Thank you. So now I would like to offer a motion to set the public hearing for the 2021 budget for our next meeting on November 12th, I believe.
11th.
That'll be a Thursday, yep, November 12th. So, and we'll I would propose that that be at the beginning of our meeting at 7 p.m.
Wait a second. Oh, because we've got Veterans Day, so our
Yep.
business meeting has changed. Got it. Okay.
You pointed that out, Irene.
Yeah, I guess I did and then forgot to change it in my own calendar. Okay.
Wait, say that again?
It's Veterans Day on the 11th.
So when did we say we were meeting?
We're going to
12th.
meet on Thursday, the 12th at 7 p.m.
Sounds good.
That sound good? Okay.
I didn't have that, but that's fine.
Okay, great. Excellent. So I will, did I get a second on that motion for the public hearing?
Second, Tim.
Seconded by Tim. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Great. Okay, thanks everybody. We're almost done with the budget. Yeah. So we'll schedule the public hearing and have the vote on the 2021 budget. All right. Oh, I gotta stop sharing. Now, I guess I'll call for any reports from the council on your committee reports. Anybody?
I'll give just a very, very brief report. The planning board is just dotting the i's on the revised comprehensive plan and it's set to meet on the 11th, I think, pretty much to take a vote on it. And it will then be forwarded to the town board. So we should have it, I don't know, sometime very soon thereafter.
Great.
Then need to prepare it for dissemination to the public. And we'll have to schedule a public hearing and probably schedule it at this meeting. It maybe even next Thursday if it's done, or in the beginning of December. That also means that we're going to have to think about extending the moratorium because the comprehensive plan won't be finished yet.
Great. And I did talk to Bill the other day, and he said they at that meeting then they plan to dive in on the solar law. Is that right?
I believe so. I don't know if it's at that meeting, but that's
Okay.
next on their agenda.
Okay. Great.
And you know, just for everybody to remember, we have 2 open seats on the planning board that we're hoping to fill because it's hard for this small committee to take on all this work by itself. And it's good
Did
to
we
have-
send an announcement around looking for announcing the position?
Mark, did we send that around? I can't remember.
I'm not sure if we did.
I kind
I'll-
of think we did, but we need to do
Okay.
that if we didn't.
Yeah, I'll check with Velvet. So
I seem to recall seeing that.
Mhm.
And I think, do we still have the online web form for volunteers to sign up?
Yeah, it's still there and we have not put it out for planning board.
Okay.
And so Velvet, I want to check and see there was a PDF,
Mhm.
which is not very friendly. And then I used to have an actual web form that people could type stuff into. So when you say yes, which are you referring
I
to?
think it's the form still.
Meaning the web
They
form.
type it in and it comes to an email.
Okay,
I'll double check that tomorrow, but I believe that that's the one still there.
okay, good.
Yeah, that makes sense because now that I think about it, Charles's last meeting should be next week when we approve the plan, so that the idea, we wanted to wait to announce the openings until we actually had 2 openings.
Oh, okay.
So that makes sense.
great. So we'll go ahead and put that announcement out.
And the task force continues to meet weekly. And is making tremendous.
Wow.
We lost a couple of members for different reasons, but it's in good shape.
Great. Very good. Any other news items from folks? Updates?
I guess the news items are that Mark and I have been in the news a couple of times over the broadband stuff. Cornell Sun and Tompkins Weekly each did an article about the county's support for moving forward with looking into countywide broadband. So, and as far as I know, it survived all the budget discussions. I don't think the county has finalized their final budget, but but you know, it survived all of the preliminary committee discussion kind of things. So,
Do we know
I don't,
who on
and I
that?
think there were at least 6 municipalities that chipped in to help, you know, have some skin in the game and defray the burden on the county to support it. So I think that was very appreciated.
Have you heard who's going to be the point person on the legislature when Anna moves to Albany?
Well, somebody in the planning department is going to
Okay.
take over being the point person.
Oh, okay. Good.
And I'm not sure who that is.
Great.
Great. Exciting.
Yeah, and then I guess the county will, you know, whether they do a special election or appoint somebody or how that works. I don't, you know, I guess they have a process for filling an empty seat. So,
Right. Okay, good. Thank you.
Cool.
Um,
I don't have many updates, but I am starting to dig into revising the RFQ for the highway barn, and I hope to have a draft out after the weekend for folks to, on the committee, to take a look at. So Cal and
Great.
Bobby, something coming your way soon.
Good news.
wow, that's great, John. Thank you.
Well, it's a start. It'll be great when it's actually finished, but
Well, yeah, but you know, every step is an important piece. So
Yeah.
and always a lot of effort behind each step. So thank you.
Absolutely. Great. Okay. Anything else? Cal, did you have anything to report?
No, not really. Thank you.
Great. Okay.
Winter is here.
Winter's here. It's gone now. Sorry, you missed it.
Yeah.
Did you get a lot of snow, Cal?
Oh, it was white up here and windy.
there's always snow
Yeah,
where Cal
crazy.
lives.
I know.
Yeah. Arg.
Obvious
Snow-
joke.
Snow
Dad-
farm.
You know, if Bobby could just say how things worked on the first, you know, day, I think it would, you know.
Bobby, how'd your first snowstorm go?
He
All
did it by
right, I
himself.
guess. Yeah, no, we got through it. Pretty much everything we had broke. It's back fixed again at the moment, but we're ready for the next one, you know, after the 70-degree weather stays here for a week or two.
I
So
know, crazy.
we spent a bunch of time, you know, getting everything ready, and now we're spending a bunch of time tearing it apart so we can do some nice weather work, and then we'll spend some more time putting it all back together.
Great. All right, so I'll move ahead and I'm going to offer the minutes of October 14th, 15th, and 20th for approval. If people are ready to do so, I looked them over and didn't find any problems. People ready to vote on those tonight, or would you prefer to wait? I can stack them up for next week if you'd rather wait.
Good either way.
What did you say, John?
I'm good either way.
Either way.
We're in a real enthusiastic crowd tonight, aren't we?
Yeah, really.
I'm guessing we're an
Hold on,
exhaust.
Get through
Exhausted
them. Let's
crowd.
go. They're done.
All right. Our clerk cheering us on.
Yes.
I agree with Jesse.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jesse.
Good.
Thanks,
Okay.
Phil.
Three sets of minutes there.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, why don't, if folks have had the chance, why don't we vote on them? And
Sure.
Great.
Sure.
Yeah.
So all in favor of approving those 3 sets of minutes?
Aye.
Sure.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great. Thanks, Jesse.
Sorry, Jesse.
I have to say, I love that the clerk is getting on us to get them approved.
Keeping us in line. That's good. That's good. So now I will, let's see, call for agenda items for next week. And let's see. So of course we have the budget public hearing at the beginning of the meeting, and then a vote on to adopt the 2021 budget. I worked with Susan to advertise the position for the court clerk, and she and Gary were hoping to. So we, in our wage evaluations, we looked at the court clerk wage rate. Again, ours was $19.07 an hour. I felt like we were all in agreement that was a very competitive wage rate, and we were pretty comfortable with that. The 5% bump up puts it to $20.02 an hour. And Susan and Gary were hoping to hire someone with more experience and hire them, at the $20.02 an hour. So I would like to offer a resolution, which I guess could be, it could be added to the personnel policy that we would, that if the department head, shows that a new hire has the training experience that meets or exceeds the 5 years experience, that we would waive the 5-year bump up period, and they would hire them at that rate.
I like that. That's a
Sure.
nice, that's a nice way to do that, Mark.
Okay,
I
great.
agree with that.
Okay, super. I'll put a resolution out for that for next week.
I mean, who's writing a job description? If you recall, a few years ago, we used to have a court typist too. And then when Kirsten came in, I guess she could do her own typing or whatever. I'm not sure, but we used to have a line for both a court clerk and a court typist.
Yeah, it's still there, I think, or I don't know, maybe
But
we
it's
took it off.
but it's zero now, and it used to be, filled in with some monies for. Evidently, we had a typist years ago before
I was
Kirsten.
gonna say, was that back when you were on the board the first time, Cal?
No, well,
Whoa!
He used to come down to the meetings in a horse-drawn wagon.
yeah, that has happened.
I believe that.
I think
I'd like
it
to
was
see
when
it, too.
when Rachel was court clerk, she'd hired out,
Was that it?
yeah, she had help in there from time to time for data entry
Yeah.
years ago.
So Susan and I went through a discussion about the court clerk description and discussed that with civil service. So they have a description on file, which does have, language, like other duties as assigned. So so they said you need to use our description. The only way you wouldn't use that description if it was so different that it just didn't fit. And if you do create a new one for some reason, then you have to clear it with all the other towns. So
Oh boy.
so anyway, the job description, the job has been posted for a week. They've gotten a good number of applicants, and so
Good.
yeah.
Well, you know, they need somebody good that just, it makes their work easier. And
Yep. So you support this idea?
definitely.
Okay, great, thank you.
The,
Okay.
the other thing,
Um,
Mark, the other thing that we had discussed in an email thread with Susan was in regards to compensation for, or vacation time for part-time work.
mm-hmm.
And so that was going to be a different modification to the personnel manual. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah, I do.
remember?
I
Okay.
remember it.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually didn't think that needed a modification. I thought we could just, Velvet seemed to agree, or I don't know if I discussed it with Velvet, but I thought I would. But yeah, that might be, we could add it as a,
as long as we're changing something in personnel manual, why don't we make both
put
the
them both in
changes?
there.
So just so everybody's looped
Yeah.
in our part-time positions,
I
we
think
had
that's a good idea.
allowed 10 holiday days to be paid. So, you know, whatever, Veterans Day and Thanksgiving Day and, you know, whatever the official holidays were, we allowed 10 paid holidays. And Susan made the point as she was looking for this job posting that people might not want to take, you know, a day here, a day there. They might want to take 5 days in a row, 10 days in a row. And so I thought, well, why not? They can, you know, we can have it be 10 days and they can use it however they want. They can use it on the federal holiday days, or they can use it in whatever ways they want. So I'm suggesting that as a change in the
Great.
personnel manual as well.
Okay, perfect.
Well, let's just see if people have any discussion on that or if they agree.
I think it's great to let people have their own individual choices. If they don't want Christmas, if they want some other holidays, great.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we just allow 10 paid days and they use them in whatever way they want.
Yep.
But they're not getting both federal holidays plus vacation days as a part-timer.
Correct.
And we're staying with part-time is 20 hours or less.
Part-time is
30 hours.
30 hours or less, or it's less than 30 hours, excuse
So
me.
less than 30 hours, okay.
Are you going to let people carry them over?
Good question. I don't know if it's been addressed.
So my thinking was that you would use them after they're earned, and so if you did that, then you would, I think you would, but I don't know.
You could bank them, maybe not for 10 years, but
Yeah.
Maybe
That was
bank
my
them for,
plan.
Yeah, but it does, Velvet, I guess I'll let you address the budgeting challenges that it presents when people bank holidays for a while, because, you know, we have to each year then budget for, you know, say somebody didn't take their 10 days this year and they have 10 days for next year plus 10 days, you know, so then we have to budget for 20
No,
days paid.
it just goes
No.
into the budget surplus holiday account.
Yeah, that's right. It goes in the
Sorry.
surplus.
Sorry.
I'm off the top of my head, I'm thinking that it wouldn't be that big a deal. And the fact that they're working holidays anyway, so they would just take them off at a different time, same days they would be paid in another year.
Right, but if they didn't use them in, say, this past year, that they didn't take their 10 days, when
Right,
we
but
figure out their salary line for next year, they get their salary, which includes the 10 vacation days, but then we have to pay 10 more days into their salary line, into their budget line. So now we've got to pay 20 paid holiday days instead of 10 paid holiday days.
Can I raise, this probably isn't just a suggestion, but it's just something that's on my mind. If it's it seems to me that if we're offering sanctioned holiday days, the option of taking sanctioned holiday days for vacation, that it would be fair for us to expect those to be scheduled in advance during that calendar year, so we wouldn't have rollovers. You hear what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Otherwise, and if they're not
Yep.
used, then take the holiday days. It
Makes
just
them
sounds-
essentially floating holidays, which I think is fair
Yeah,
because it gives them
yeah.
flexibility.
Yeah, I like that, Tim. I like
Otherwise,
that.
it just gets completely crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I agree with that.
That was
I-
kind of,
I have a comment, with Tim. We kind of have a little bit of that issue, on the highway end.
Yep.
We can't have the highway guys rolling all their time over. And we've got to use it up during the year. So, yeah, it's great. Like Tim said, if we're offering holidays or you can take it when you want, as long as it's within that fiscal year, we're starting the next year, with a clean slate. And I know it makes it easier on my end, because I don't just have to, I account for, a couple weeks for a person, not 4 weeks or 6 weeks or however many.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Good point. I think we're in agreement on that. Does that sound right?
Think so.
Yep.
Cool. Great. Thank you. That sounds good. Anything else for next week? I feel like I've been
Yeah.
thinking about the budget so much I kind of whiffed or something.
Standard workday resolution.
Okay. Thanks, Velvet. Anything else I'm supposed to be remembering?
I mean, I suppose if we had the comprehensive plan, we could just enter it on the agenda at the beginning of the next meeting, right? If they approve it the night before and it's ready to be
We'll
transferred
have a
over,
discussion of it.
we could have or at least, I don't know what the procedure is.
Yeah.
It must have to be officially received or something. Never having done this before, I don't know.
Well, and so let's just think about, so what are we going to do once the planning board finalizes, then it comes to us for review. And then after we've had a chance to review it, what are,
Well, we
You
have to have a public
we
hearing.
have
and
a
it seems
public
to me
hearing.
We could
So,
have the public hearing in sync with our own review. I mean, I was thinking review would be just for document production to make it available. I mean, I don't know when the board will do, you know
Right.
what I'm saying? I mean, it would seem to me to be more practical for the board to do
I see what you're saying.
its own review after the public hearing, just
I see what you're saying.
to save time.
I like that because, yeah, you can have your
well, or
review
concomitant.
Right.
in light of the comments. Yeah.
I mean, there's some chance we'll need to make some tweaks.
So,
And
so we'll
also
basically be
public-
introducing
Mhm.
the revised comprehensive plan next week.
Right.
Good.
And
If it's there.
then are we going to next week schedule the public hearing?
If
for
we
it?
have it. I mean, first
I
we have to know if we even have it. You know, we might not have it in hand yet. I don't know.
I see,
You
okay.
hear what I'm saying?
Well, if we get it, then we'll introduce it
Yes,
and,
yes.
and schedule a public hearing date, I guess.
Correct.
And it's going to be, a little bit, we're going to have to be reasonable because we've got holidays coming up in terms of.
Yeah,
when
of
we
course, of
schedule
course.
it.
Yeah.
Great, Tim. I think good suggestion.
Yeah, so, we might, I would suggest just people think about whether the first board meeting in December,
Could be a
at our
public
agenda
hearing.
meeting could be the public hearing.
We probably want a separate public hearing, I would think, for this I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, maybe.
it just depends, you know, I mean, it is true that the planning board has already held a public hearing. And then it received, in addition to that, to which about 15 people came, then it received, I think, maybe 15 or 20 additional comments in writing. It then literally reviewed every single line of every single comment. So in reality, the document has been pretty well vetted, but we might have more vetting to do after a public hearing. You know, I just don't know how complicated it's going to be.
Sure.
And the public hearing for the finished
Okay.
comprehensive plan could be more involved than the one for the draft. I just don't know.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay. Well, I would suggest that, you know, in whatever way, and we'll obviously, we don't even have it in hand yet, but think about it for somewheres in early December, so after Thanksgiving and before Christmas sets in.
Yeah.
That we think about public hearing on it sometime in that window.
Yep. And given its importance, I mean, I would feel more comfortable with just a separate public hearing on that. So we're not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hear you. That's fine.
Great.
But I just wanted to, you know, form a rough idea that we can all think about and look
Right.
at our calendars and
Right.
whatever. But
Yep.
What's the date for the end of the moratorium? December 12th?
The date I have in my head is December 10th,
Okay.
but from June 10th.
I think that sounds right.
December 10th?
so do we need to be thinking about extending the moratorium?
Yes.
I think so.
And so when should we be introducing and doing that? We could have plan for introducing the extension language as a public hearing at the December agenda meeting.
That sounds like a good idea.
Okay.
Yep.
And a vote at the December business meeting.
Yep.
So Mark, if I could suggest that you work with Guy on the language for that extension.
Yeah. Yep. Sounds good.
For how long?
I think it would probably be 6 months.
Well, then kiss the solar project goodbye.
Well, I don't want to talk about, you know, individual projects right now, but we're really focused on the moratorium, but so. So great. So, but I think it'll be great to, you know, I mean, I think we should begin thinking about doing that, seriously considering it. So. All right. So I do want to move to executive session when people are ready to do that. I don't have anything else in front of me. So if you're all ready, I'll call for executive session to discuss matters with potential legal.
Okay, I'll stop the recording.
Thank you, Velvet.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Carmen.
All right, see ya.
See ya. Say hi to your doggy.
Bye.
Will do.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye.